Hey everybody, if you're watching this, then you must have a little bit of interest in the film American Beauty. I recently watched this film and I found it profoundly philosophical, metaphorical, and quite symbolic as well. So I thought it deserved a little review. Okay, so American Beauty was filmed in 1999 and it attempts to capture what the 90s may have represented for your average American. The film stars actors like Kevin Spacey, Annette Bening, Thora Birch, what are the others? Mena Suvari, and Wes Bentley. Now the movie has a decent plot, but it also had a first-time director, Sam Mendes. And while he did a good job, the thing that really put this movie into its own category was the acting. Okay, so here's a quick little overview of American Beauty. So there's several characters, all of whom are in a sort of deep depression or rut, whatever you want to call it, but basically they're just not doing too hot with their current circumstances. And it's by the actions of one of these depressed characters in which they all start to move in a different direction. Now, this character's name is Lester. And Lester, he quits his job, he starts smoking weed, he blackmails his boss, he starts hitting on high school aged girls, and it's by all of those wild actions in which the everyday life of all the other characters kind of goes into a turmoil, kind of a chaotic madhouse, and everything is anything but the norm. So like I said, the acting in this film is really what milks it for all the potential that it has. And this is because the actors in the film, they start out as just a thin shell of what they'll eventually develop into. And this development is where you really need some amazing actors, or else it just would never work. So the actors need to be constantly reevaluating and redefining themselves and changing with the character as the movie goes on. And that's really hard to do. And there isn't just one character either. There are 6 characters that display this development throughout the movie. However, I think I'll just focus on one of those characters, Lester, just because he's the most interesting and brings about the most change throughout the entire movie. So the opening scene of the movie is of Lester telling the audience that he's going to be dead in a year. Now this immediately gave him a sort of sealed fate, and we knew straight from the beginning that he was trapped and that he was going to be doomed. And because of that knowledge, we expected a lot of change in his character, because in the beginning he was just so lame and so ordinary that we all knew something would have to happen before he ended up dead. And the change definitely happens. Kevin Spacey went from sort of a shy, timid pushover to more of a free-flowing, cocky hedonist. And he just did it with such a smooth transition that it didn't really shock the audience too much. And we found his actions somewhat logical, and we didn't really question what he was doing. And Kevin Spacey also adds something to Lester that maybe no other actor could have added. He adds sort of a coy, like smart alecky type attitude that makes the character really likable, but at the same time keeps it kind of edgy. So to wrap up this little rant, yeah, I definitely enjoyed American Beauty and all of its little hidden messages. If you want to figure those out, you should go watch it for yourself. But more than just enjoying the film, I definitely found myself sort of appreciating the film, and I definitely appreciated it because of just the stellar acting that took place. I think if more actors these days would focus on developing that character, that the quality of the movies that are coming out would just be a lot higher. But yeah, that's just my little input on American Beauty. And I hope you all go get to see it and witness the fitness.